Welcome to the Human Being Store, and thank you for joining us for our podcast, Human Being 101, where we explore what it means to be both human and being in our lives. I'm Maria Pritchard, Director of Guidance and Operations.
And I'm Kathleen Schaefer. I'm the founder and CEO of the Human Being Store.
And today we're here to have a conversation about our desired contribution in the world. And something that you often ask, Kathleen, that I think is so powerful is, how do I even know if I'm succeeding if I don't know what I want to contribute?
Well, good question. And one that all the time we should be asking ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And we laugh and make it a joke. And yet, how many people listening here really know the answer to that? What do I want to contribute? Why am I getting out of bed in the morning? Why am I showing up at my workplace? I mean, how is the world going to be different as a result of me being here? You know?
And I would say one of the most common experiences I have had as a guide offering this work with clients is people coming in, getting their gift, having this profound experience, and then characterizing their life to me as just a series of events that they really did not feel conscious around, that they were just moving from one step to another, following what seemed like the correct path. And a lot of people end up at a point in their life, which I think is, how they end up through our doors, wondering, how did I get here and do I even want to be here?
Right. Well, we all kind of have the recipe that's handed to us when we're young, correct? That, we're going to go to school, we're going to succeed at school, we will graduate. Most people will go on to college, they'll succeed in college, they'll go on to either further study or into the workplace. And that somehow there's this invisible, assembly line that is propelling us along through our life. And that people just take this job, this job, this job. And I always believe that we have a much greater role in our choices. And for a lot of people, they seem to think that the choices come from outside of them. And what the work is about here at the Human Being Store is that once you know and understand your gift, what makes you unique, your talents, your strengths, your skills, and you combine that with a clarity around what is it that you want to contribute in the world, now you start making decisions about how you offer it and where you offer it, rather than just having it be something like, well, I put in this application and I wound up in this organization and they gave me a raise and here I am.
And I myself definitely identify with that conveyor belt life story. And that was one of the things that became really clear to me when I started working with you, Kathleen. I always said that moving forward, my life seemed like a series of coincidences. But when I looked back at it, it did make sense. And what I realized was that my gift was there all along. My gift was really guiding me, and I didn't have consciousness around it then. I think I was always seeking it, and this work helped me to really find it. And now I don't feel like my life is a set of coincidences. I feel like my life is a sequence of events propelled by my gift and my desired contribution. But the beauty is that it doesn't have to be so black and white either, or, either you're doing it or you're not doing it. My gift was there all along, wanting to support me. It was just waiting for me to really give conscious attention to it.
Right. Well, that's being a leader in your life, which is what this work is about, is, are we leading our lives or are our lives leading us? And by coming to the Human Being Store, by embracing the idea that you are both human and being, and that you need a healthy dynamic between the two, then we're able to bring more, not just consciousness, but direction to what it is that we're doing. And you kind of nailed it, which is, we're not here to tell you something that you don't know about yourself. We're not here to, teach you all kinds of things that you've never heard of before. What this is about is it's about bringing it together in a way where you can access it on a regular basis and practice it primarily in your work. And by our focus at the Human Being Store being around work, it's not to say that work is the primary thing in our lives. It's to say it's the way that we most enjoy expressing our gift is through our actions. And it can be for compensation and salary through a position. It can be as a volunteer, it can be as a parent, it can be as a sibling, however that gets expressed. But it is our love in action, my definition of leadership, which is what this is about. And the more clarity we have about the impact that we want that to have in the world, then the better able we are to offer it and do it.
And as someone who is very driven and constantly in motion, it's been so profound for me to really slow down and take time to consider all of this. And I think many, our culture and many work environments and work cultures don't really cultivate a space for that. And that's really the gap that we're filling as the Human Being Store. We're providing this service, and, our motto, better people, better work, better world, is really not only what we believe, but what we are here to do. That's our desired contribution.
Absolutely, because as you said, the way that we get to better work, that better expression of ourselves, is by having, we cheekily say, is that a word, cheekily?
It is now.
Okay, good.
Copyright. Human Being Store.
Good. We're going to push bounds all over the place. As we say it in this way is because it's through the consciousness of our gift that we're able to step back and, as you said, recognize all the ways in which we offer it. And one of the greatest joys and fun that we have here in guidance at the Human Being Store is to help people look at what they have already done, at who they already are, and see how much and how great it is, instead of always looking at how far do you have to go or how far removed you are from some goal. Actually, a lot of the work we do is to help people see how much they already have and to begin enjoying it right here, right now.
Yeah, and on that note, we talk a lot about how work culture is changing and people are shifting jobs, shifting roles, even, major shifts in what sectors they're participating in. What would you say to that person who is maybe listening and feels like, I've done 50 different things and I don't know what I want to contribute? I feel lost. What is that North Star for me? How would you guide that person?
It's one of my favorite things to do through this model and through this work at the Human Being Store is help people not discover it, but to remember it. And one of the exercises and questions we use here is we ask people, if you had a day with no structure, if you had a day where there was nothing that was required of you, how would you choose to spend your time? Because, so many people feel like that's not an option, that they have all of these external obligations. And when we can kind of strip away what we think the world wants of us, and we have to put the onus on ourselves to actually create what it is, we start to have some really big clues into what we most enjoy. And, for a lot of people, sometimes it's, the thrill of travel, or it's like, I want to sleep for 3 days. Again, great clues into something that they're needing. But as they, move through some of those initial pieces, they start to get to, I'd really like to go out and work with groups of people about how we make our community stronger and better. Or I would love to, be out on the ocean doing things that would, help make the environment cleaner and better. Or I'd like to be in a kitchen doing something. I mean, it comes through. It's just that somehow we've forgotten what that is, or, had somehow thought that we couldn't do or be it in order to have the impact or make the living that we want.
And as a company, before clients even come to us, one of the first things that they do after they sign up is to answer our questionnaire, which is something you've been using for a long time, and just beautiful questions that really get to the essence of this work and set up a great foundation for us to begin. And one of the things that it asks a lot of questions about what you're doing, and it asks questions about the impact you want to have in the world. And we consistently see, that expose for people this disconnect between, I do know what I want to contribute, and now I realize maybe I'm not aligning what I'm doing to that desired contribution.
One of the examples I use frequently is that if somebody comes and they say, I want to be a great chef, and yet I don't have the money for a kitchen, or I don't have the ability to travel and take some experiences of this. So I'm going to keep being a mechanic. And I'm going to be a mechanic until I can figure out how I can have the money or the resources, the time, or whatever it is to be a great chef. And at the Human Being Store, we say, if you really want to be a great chef, start cooking. Wherever it is, however it is, whatever, start doing it. And, even here in the way that we practice and train the guides, one of the things that we do very early on is we get people starting to ask these questions, not only for themselves, but as they start to work with other people, because you only learn through experience. We can have all the conversations in the world, and yet you don't truly take it in until you start doing it, which is one of the reasons that we meet with people, once a week, every couple weeks, once a month, and we have them go off and practice it and then come back. And that's how the change and the shift really happens.
Absolutely. And I know that this conversation is going to inspire a lot of listeners to start taking action, because it really is available to you in this moment. I would encourage everyone who is listening to think about, what is that impact you're wanting to have in the world, and what's one thing that you can do today to start taking action on that.
Absolutely. I always say grow where you're planted, and that's the only way you will start growing.
Thank you again, Kathleen. Another powerful conversation, and I'm excited to get to our guest interview today.
Yep, Leanna's going to be a lot of fun. Me too.
Awesome.
So welcome back to the segment where we talk with individuals about their gift and the impact that it's had in their life. Today we're going to talk with Leanna Nielsen, who is an extraordinary individual with an amazing gift, as you'll hear about here in a few minutes. And fortunate for all of us, she is a guide at the Human Being Store, having just completed her practicum, and excited to have her on the team. So welcome, Leanna. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm glad. And tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you are living right now, and how you got to the Human Being Store.
Sure. I am based in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, and I love it. And I found the Human Being Store because Allie, another guide at the Human Being Store, is one of my dear friends. And when she started her practicum, she just was raving about how great this whole thing was. And I was like, okay, sure, cool. And she kept coming back and talking about it more and more. And then I ended up visiting her in LA and seeing this beautiful shift in how she showed up in the world, hearing about a lot of really great stuff she was accomplishing. And it just was the moment of like, wait, I want what she has. Like, what is she taking? I need to get involved in this, because it was just so exciting to see this person who I've known for many years, who I love dearly, really flourishing and just so confident and just showing up beautifully in the world.
Yeah. So you had your When Harry Met Sally moment there, right?
Completely.
I love that. I love that. And, given the fact that you are in New York, and you already were doing some of this work with people in terms of coaching with them with health, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So about 10 years ago, to back up a little further than that, I've always really been sort of interested in self-development. It's something I'm excited about and curious about. And about 10 years ago, I unfortunately started to have some sort of autoimmune disease condition showing up, and I was seeing a lot of doctors, and I wasn't getting a lot of great results. So I took matters into my own hands, and I started to learn a lot about health and nutrition and heal my body on my own. And it was something that I was so excited and inspired by that I became a health coach. I went back to school. It was something I wanted to talk to everyone about and help people with. And so I've been coaching. I have my own practice in New York. I've been coaching for a few years now. And what I started to find was that I was drawing people into my practice who definitely, wanted to lose weight or become healthier, but it was because they had some sort of underlying issue and often it was they were unhappy at work. So I found myself, initially helping people improve their diets, but then coaching them into new careers. So it just sort of was this beautiful coincidence that the Human Being Store showed up, because here was an opportunity to learn a little bit more about coaching people and giving me language around helping people transition into new phases of their life.
Well, it's so interesting that you talk about this idea of transitions in life, because I think it leads us right to your gift. And if you're willing, I'd love to have you share what the experience of the gift has meant for you and how you have started to put it to use in your life.
It's been so profound. It's so interesting, and starting to do this work, seeing people discover their gift. It's just such a beautiful experience. It's like seeing something you can't unsee. And my gift essentially is sort of helping people connect to their gifts. And what that means is more that my gift is helping people, especially women, through transitions into new phases of their lives, into sort of new cycles into their lives. And furthermore, to help them connect and celebrate the beauty of who they are. So essentially their gift.
Right. Well, and I know you and I have worked on it. This is the work that we do.
Absolutely.
In this case,
through
with
the
me
6
as guide,
months,
yes,
it's definitely evolved and become more specific. And the more you learn to sort of show up in your gift in your life, the more you sort of understand and refine what it is. And it's been so transformative, not only for me personally and how I show up in my personal relationships and sort of knowing and trusting how to ask for what I need, knowing what I need, but my business has grown. It's been really great in terms of helping me coach my clients and just being more confident in what I have to put out there.
Right. Well, I know one of the things that we've been talking about is that so many people come to work, whether it's for health or for career, because there's a pain point. And that part of what is great about this approach is that we start to reframe things for people to focus on the positive and what it is that they have. So, maybe here in these last few moments, if you can share with the listeners what you're thinking about it as you are going to actually bring a lot of your integrative health knowledge to this platform of the Human Being Store and the work that you're going to be doing with people moving forward here of bringing these two together.
Well, it's really exciting because, at the Human Being Store, a lot of it's sort of internal work and understanding, the stories you tell yourself and how you frame things for yourself in the world. And it's directly correlated to how you take care of yourself. So the cool thing about what I have to offer is not only can I give you these tools to sort of encourage you to look at your life in a more positive way, to sort of understand the stories that you're telling yourself, but here I have all of these other tools where you're doing the inside work, you can do the outside work at the same time. So the more you are putting beautiful, healthy, whole foods into your body, the easier it is to have happy, clear thoughts, to be more connected to yourself, to have the energy you want, to then go out in the world and live your purpose and be a leader.
Right. Well, there you are. Better people, better work, better world. So, Liana, thank you for being here with us today. We are so delighted to have you be a part of the team, and we invite anybody who's interested in working on this to visit the store, and you can get a chance to work with Liana yourself.
Thank you, Liana.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
What I loved about Liana's interview was that in her own exploration of desired contribution, she is also guiding others to find their desired contribution. And I just think that's one of the many powerful aspects of this work, especially as someone who gets to deliver it, is that the more that I offer it to others, the more clear it becomes for me.
Your gift is your gift, right? We talk about that at the Human Being Store all the time, is that part of how we know it is our gift is that we also allow ourselves to receive it in our lives. And you just said that beautifully. And Liana's a perfect example of that. She really is about, connecting and supporting people through transitions, whether it's, with their body or in their work or life stages. And she's going through all of that herself in her own way, and she's able to strengthen her own experience by offering to support others in theirs.
Yeah, and I would just like to encourage all of our listeners to take a moment to think about the flow of giving and receiving in your own life. I think we all have natural tendencies toward one direction, And it is so powerful and profound to start to explore flow in the opposite direction. So check out if you are constantly finding yourself giving or constantly find yourself receiving, and try exploring the other path.
It's really the key is we need a dynamic, healthy flow and balance between the two. And like you said, we see for ourselves and for the people with whom we work all the time, the minute you begin to move the flow, in both directions or in all directions, things change, and things change, immediately and powerfully.
Absolutely. Thank you again for joining us at the Human Being Store. This has been another great episode of Human Being 101. Tune in next time.
Thank you.